My wife and I are converts. She was raised in the United Church. I was raised in the Pentecostal Church. In fact, my father was a Pentecostal minister. I was very familiar from a very young age with the healing, with the laying on of hands and the ensuing healing. I want to distinguish between curing and healing. Curing, it seems to me, refers to the removal of a disease or a disability. Healing, on the other hand, is the restoration of physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual well-being. You can have curing without healing, but you cannot have healing without curing. And in the case of Jesus and the deaf-mute, he certainly healed the man, because I think there were more things going on than just the physical disability the man experienced. Anyway, I'd like to have you tell the second story, Carol, and this has to do with my experience with cancer.
Mark, it was a warm day, and Mark was out cutting wood with our children, with our sons, and he came home and he said, "You know what, Carol? When I covered up my right eye, everything went like this." And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm a nurse, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's got a detached retina. I'm sure that our optometrist knew what was wrong at the time. Actually, in after fact, he told us he knew what was wrong. And he came out of that room and he just plopped himself down on a seat right in front of the door, and I thought, oh, something's not good. I have cancer. And I thought, okay. But then when the doctor came out, he said, "I want you to see an ocular oncologist. He will call you." And that's all he said. And I pushed on the door and said, "No, wait, I want to know." He said he has at least stage 2 melanoma. So on the way home, Mark said, "I don't want to tell anybody about this." And I said to him, "You may not want to, but I'm going to need support for this. So I'm going to tell all our kids and anybody else I know." So I went on the internet and found an ocular oncologist at the Mayo Clinic. We knew this was going to cost us, and we didn't know how much. And then I called the financial people, and they said it would cost between $20,000 and $25,000 US. And my thinking was, well, I guess that would be the price of a new car, so I think he's worth that to me. We went to our daughters, stayed at our daughters in Minnesota the first night. A friend of hers said, "I know somebody who lives in Rochester." This lady was absolutely wonderful. We went to Rochester, we went to her house. She was a gift from God. The nurse and the doctor that we saw there was wonderful. He explained everything. He gave us a date. He said, "I'm going away on the 1st of May. This is in March." And he said, "You know, I know somebody in Toronto who can do this surgery so that you don't have to pay for it." So I think probably about a week and a half later, we flew to Toronto, had an appointment, saw the doctors, and they were amazing. But in the meantime, friends that we had not heard from, probably for 20 years, invited us for meal, were very, very supportive.
There were a couple of, I think, there are interesting things that happened in the course of that whole sequence of events. And one of them, she mentioned the fellow who reconnected with me after 20 years. When I picked up the phone and said hello, he said, "Do you think you're going to die?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, you won't then." We go for coffee every Sunday morning to the local restaurant, so we see the same people every Sunday. And after I came out of surgery and I was in recovery, a telegram came. And it was a telegram from all the people who go to the restaurant on Sunday and have coffee with us, wishing me well. But what I really want to do is, we talked about optometrists and ophthalmologists, we talked about doctors, we talked about friends, we talked about all sorts of people who were involved in all of this. And all of those people went out of their way. They did things they didn't have to do to make me feel better. And I really believe to this day that those people contributed immensely to my healing, because I was healed. The deaf man in Mark's gospel was lucky indeed. That experience is not readily available to us, But just as I encountered Jesus in the people and events of my life, so too can you. But if, like the deaf man, you will be opened, you will find Jesus often in the ordinary people and experiences of your life.